Old English poem, The Wanderer, is very sad and very beautiful, and it tells us from the very beginning what it's about. It is about weird, or fate. In the very early lines, it tells us, Weird bit full arad, or would be translated, fate is wholly inexorable, or fate is firmly set. That you can't really change your fate, we're told by the speaker from the very beginning. And this word weird, we hear the word weird today and we think it means strange or odd. But the meaning of weird meaning strange or odd doesn't really come into play in English until the 19th century. Before that time, weird meant your fate, what was fated, what Providence laid out before you. So for example, when you think of the Shakespeare play Macbeth, the three weird sisters, weird there doesn't mean that they are strange. What weird means is that they are the three fates, and indeed in Shakespeare's Macbeth, they lay out Shakespeare's fate. That word weird is the word that we hear here, and it's a very common concept in Anglo-Saxon thought. And so what do you do when your fate, your weird, is not to your liking? What do you do when it's bad? Well, we see here in around line 92, we see a section that is sometimes called the Ubi Sunt section. Where did the steed go? Where the young warrior? Where the treasure giver? Where the seats of fellowship? Where the hall's festivity? Alas, the bright beaker! Alas, burnished warrior! Alas, pride of princes! How the time has passed, gone under night helm, as if it never was. This, where is this and where is that? We call that ubi sunt, and we need from Latin where are. And this is something that writers would sometimes do to point out that the things of this world pass away. Most famously, we see this in Boethius's The Consolation of Philosophy, where Boethius, when he's imprisoned, waiting to be put to death, he tries to console himself, and he consoles himself by understanding that the things of this world are temporary and they don't really matter as much. And so even though the sorrows that we feel today are real, those sorrows ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, are not important as ultimate truth. Now, if this where did the steed go, where the young warrior, if all this where are things sounds familiar to you, these ubi sunts, in popular culture in the 20th century, we saw that in J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. Tolkien was a great medieval scholar, and he gives to Aragorn an ubi sunt that is based on the Wanderer. Where now the horse and the rider? Where is the horn that was blowing? Where is the helm and the hauberk and the bright hair flowing? Where is the hand on the harp string and the red fire glowing? Where is the spring and the harvest and the tall corn growing? They have passed like rain on the mountain, like a wind in the meadow. The days have gone down in the west, behind the hills into shadow. Who shall gather the smoke of the dead wood burning, or behold the flowing years from the sea returning? And maybe if you haven't read The Lord of the Rings and don't know that from The Two Towers, Peter Jackson's film adaptation, he gives a part of that speech to Theoden, who before Theoden goes out on an apparent suicide mission, his forces are going out for one last battle where they will certainly be slaughtered against the orcs outside Helm's Deep. Where is the horse and the rider? Where is the horn that was blowing? They have passed like rain on the mountains, like wind in the meadow. The days have come down in the west, behind the hills, into shadow. And then he asks, how did it come to this? And so we see this lament for things that are past. Here, starting in the classical era with Boethius's Consolation of Philosophy, we see it echoed here in The Wanderer. We hear it echoed in Lord of the Rings in the film adaptation. So what do you do when the things that are important to you have passed away? Well, you remember that the things that are truly important are eternal and don't matter. And this is what we hear at the end of this. So said the wise man as he sat in meditation. A good man holds his words back, tells his woes not too soon, bearing his inner heart before knowing the best way, an earl who acts with courage. All shall be well for him who seeks grace, help from our Father in heaven, where a fortress stands for us all. And so the idea of the wanderer, although it is very beautiful and very sad, the idea behind the sadness is these things that are sad today, they're transitory. They don't matter. There are eternal things that are of much greater importance.